Thanks. So hi everyone. Welcome to the SIGHPC Education Chapter's annual meeting. I'm Scott Callahan, I'm the chair, and we're grateful that you could join us today. The agenda for today's meeting, we want to start with some highlights, some of the things the chapter has been up to over the past year. I'm then going to have representatives from each committee talk a little bit about what their current projects are and potential opportunities for volunteers if any of you are interested in participating. I know we could always use new people and new ideas. And for the second half of the meeting, we'd like to solicit member feedback on some questions to help us kind of make plans and come up with some ideas for the next year. I think that's really, the goal of these annual meetings is to, first of all, kind of give you the context of what leadership has been up to, so that then you can give us meaningful feedback and help us figure out, okay, what should our priorities be? What would best serve the interests of the chapter? So in terms of recent activities, a big one was establishing our first award. So it's a biannual award and outstanding contribution to computational science education. I have to call it Steve Gordon. He worked really hard on this, getting all the T's crossed and the I's dotted so we could make it a reality. And the first award was given to Dr. Bob Panoff of Shodor. It was part of the SC22 award ceremony. So I feel like it was a good high-profile opportunity for our chapter to have an award and the company of the other awards that are presented there. I had a chat with the ACM president afterward, and he mentioned that he was glad to see kind of an education presence at the award ceremony. So, and I think that's encouraging. Biannual, so next one will come around in 2024. Steve and Georgia worked really hard on updating our website. Many of you probably came through it to get the link to come to this meeting. And so it has an extensive lift, and we revised some of the contents. And ultimately, also, I think it will be easier for committees and leadership to update. And I'm hoping that it develops into a good source of kind of news and events and information for members of the chapter. We also created an at-large officer position for Africa. This complements the regional at-large officer positions we currently have for Asia Pacific and for Europe, and reflects kind of our growing collaborations with Africa and the growing international reach of the chapter. In terms of more technical activities, we held a pair of in-person workshops this year. I know some of you were able to attend those. It was great to see you. One at PERC and one at SC. I think especially coming out of the last couple of years, being able to have some in-person events and start to kind of reform those connections and have those more spontaneous conversations with people is a great thing for the community. We had a number of birds of a feather sessions as well. I know there are more than this, but a couple of the most recent ones, and we had one on HPC outreach at SC22. Recently, also we participated in one on HPC education at the SIGHPC national meeting. So this is the South African kind of national supercomputing affiliation. We hosted several webinars. I remember there was one about Google Colab in the classroom and another one about using wildfire simulations. So if you're curious about either of those, you should go check out our YouTube channel linked here. And also we've had a number of blog posts on we had some on early career topics. We had some on JETA high school students interview people kind of about computing and HPC concepts, both they're kind of both contributing to HPC education with the content of the blog, and I know the high schooler herself learned a lot too. So if you haven't seen those, you should go check out our blog. So what I'd like to do now is rotate to the chapter committees. So a lot of the work that the chapter is able to accomplish is done through our 5 committees. Each one is kind of focused on a different part of the chapter's mission, and is working on specific projects in their area to help further HPC education, training, and outreach. So what we're going to do is we're going to do brief presentations from each of the committee about what they're currently working on, and then also share some volunteer opportunities or opportunities for other people to get involved. As I said at the outset, we're always looking for new volunteers, for new people to come in and help us both kind of accomplish some of these goals, and also come up with new ideas for where we should be going, what our new priorities should be. So we're going to start with the Computational Science Education Committee. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing here, and I'm going to let Dave Joyner take it away. I think you're muted, Dave.
Want to make sure I'm sharing correctly. Do y'all see a slide that says computational science education?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. So the Computational Science Education Committee have been working on advocating for projects related to materials and strategies for furthering computational science education. In particular, some of the things that we've been focusing on is, as Scott had mentioned, is the webinar series. And we're always looking for anyone willing to present something in webinar format. We think these have been very successful, and they are recorded and archived for the YouTube channel, so they can be viewed and reused down the line. Anyone who has desire, willingness to share a new topic or a new idea in a YouTube format, certainly very much encouraged to contact and let us know, and we want to put that out there. We are also interested in collecting new training materials as well as people develop them, and finding ways to make those available. One possibility that we've been discussing would be to come up with some form of open format. We have, or I should say, Schroeder has recently moved the Journal of Computational Science Education to a GitHub-based format for formatting, which should be a nice back end if we wanted to look at expanding some of the things that JOCC can accept and review and publish, to include some things specific to more granular learning objects, or things that you want to get out there and publish and get some viewership for. We also have been working over the last year on a catalog sharing project, so that all of the different libraries of materials that are out there on the web in different formats from different authors, that we can try to build a community to work together to essentially allow everyone to search each other's catalogs and share those catalog search results, to improve ability of end users to find vetted specific information. What we're finding is that while there's, say, for example, a lot of information on MPI and different ways of doing, an intro lesson on MPI, getting down to the particular level of granularity you want for your architecture, for your problem on the resource you're running on, at the level that you need it, is a lot harder. And the Google approach is not necessarily finding the information at that granularity. There was a survey of users on the ability to find information, and got some great feedback on that we've been talking about in this group. And we're looking to try to find funding and partnerships to move that idea forward. And then finally, just community building and working to try to get a community together to find, create, share materials. We're looking to do meetings on Kate, is it one Wednesday a month? I forget whether it's like the second Wednesday or third Wednesday, or
Yeah, so our plans, at least for the next couple of months, are to schedule our meetings monthly on the third Wednesday of the month, and we'll alternate the times from 9 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern.
So our next meeting, which we hope to see everyone out, is going to be January 18th at 9 a.m. And we'll get Zoom information and Zoom links out to the full mailing list. Any questions or comments for the CSE committee for either me or for Kate?
let me unzip her. How does one go about talking to you and Kate directly by email for possible webinars or talking about how to generate ideas for webinars?
So certainly email to the two of us will work. Do we have the new website? Don't we have like a forum on that as well? I don't know if between the Slack channel or the forum on the website, if there are other ways to communicate and suggest these things.
The website has the email addresses of all the chairs of the committee. And you can rate either a chair of a committee or to the outreach committee for any ideas you have on webinars or blog posts or anything.
Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing something similar to what we did at SC a couple of years ago, to have a session on stimulating parallel thinking and trying to take some day-to-day examples of human activity and map them onto MPI, OpenMP, vector, accelerator type architectures to kind of give some teachers an idea of how to stimulate that type of thinking.
That would be a great idea, and I'll follow up with you on that, Bob. This is Steve Ward.
Okay.
Scott, I think that's it from us.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So next we'll turn to the K-12 Education Committee. I'm not sure, Drew or Georgia, would you like to share screen and present? Thanks.
1 second, let me just fix this quickly. Georgia, would you like to take the first couple of slides and then I can talk about the specific events? Would that work for you?
Sure.
And Georgia, do me the huge favor. I'm going to press share screen, and please don't laugh at me. I've still not figured out how to do this on Zoom. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Are you seeing presentation mode or you're not?
No, no, I am. Now I am.
Fantastic. Okay. Yay. All right. There we go.
Okay. Okay, so this is the K-12 subcommittee that's aimed at education in the K-12 grades and potentially up through like community college level in the future. So our vision right now is a platform to share and discuss work done in the K-12 education space and to share curriculum and credential programs. And then we want to offer opportunities for international collaboration and give continuing education credit opportunities for participating in training to K-12 teachers. And then also engage with groups participating in teacher training. So there's kind of like two sections to the K-12 Education Committee, student focused and teacher focused. And Drew will give examples of both in just a minute.
So I'll talk a little bit about two recent activities that we held this year. Excuse me. There we go. All right. So we had two recent activities this year, and we hope to build on this momentum for the next year. The first was student focused. This is summer camps for middle and high school students. In the picture, you can see a bunch of happy and excited high school students presenting a self-generated product. It's called a software for online credit card fraud. It was hypothetical, but they worked with data. They collected real data. And these are the kind of summer camps that we are hoping to push out throughout the country. We have developed the curriculum for this. The curriculum has focus areas in cybersecurity, in the data sciences and cyber infrastructure. We've been working with different groups and making this curriculum more available. Most of it is now scalable because it's on the Google LMS. And so a teacher can grab it and apply it at their local institution as well. Along that line of thought, we were invited to organize a teacher training session at Supercomputing 22 in Dallas. We had about 14 people start, and the rest of the crowd's visible in the picture. We had some good feedback from people. The teachers were very positive. They wanted more, which is very encouraging. So the focus areas that they are mostly interested in is coding, and anything to do with coding excites them. Cybersecurity makes it easier for them to go up to their administrators and sell it up to them. Data science is something that school administrators are excited about. So those will be the focus areas. This year, we were able to release our curriculum via Google LMS. Teachers want assignments, they want more. So there's a lot of excitement in this area, and we'll keep working on this. We've been very fortunate to have a couple of K through 12 curricular experts join with us and work on the curriculum. So stay tuned for more things in this space. And finally, via IEEE, we were able to offer a certification free of charge to the teachers. So every teacher came and got some PDUs, so made them look pretty good. The good news is some of the teachers who participated in this event on Saturday went back to the schools and brought students with them on Wednesday for the SC tour. So that was very heartening. Finally, we have a couple of events coming up in 2023. First of all, we have monthly calls. I apologize for the split bullet. So we typically meet on the second Tuesday of every month at 10 a.m. Central, both Georgia and I on Central Time. So that's universal time for us. We're going to organize a day of code for high school students. This is going to be nationwide. It's on the 3rd of January, and we'll appreciate it if you could spread the word. I sent an email about this yesterday on the CARC and Campus Champions mailing list. So, and we're getting a very strong response. I'm excited about this event. We've been invited to return to SC in Denver and organize a teacher immersion program as part of the outreach programs for students and teachers. So we'll be working on that, and I hope some of you can join us there. That's it from our side.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the K-12 committee?
I know there are a number of K-12 CSC initiatives going on in different things at the county or state level. There's one with Terry Sullivan in Illinois, for instance. And the ones that I'm in, I'll try to get connected to you all so that at least people are aware of these opportunities.
That'd be great.
By the way, are the slides from this meeting going to be available?
Yes, I think we'll post them, on the website.
Okay, thanks.
We've been running a high school research program at Kane July and through July is the past about 10 years. And some of the workshops have been computational in nature, not all of them. Certainly not on the scale of what y'all have been talking about here, but if at some point, if you're looking for, extra examples of that or have an opportunity to present that or try to encapsulate that in some way, I'd be happy to work with the K-12 group on that. If it's just one more data point.
David, so next year, if you could join in on the calls, that would be fantastic. It's great when it's more than Georgie and me staring at each other's over Zoom. So that would be great.
Sure, send me a link to the next meeting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions for the K-12 committee? All right, great. Then next up, we'll hear from the outreach committee.
Be right with you here. So myself and Veronica Fillinger co-chair the outreach committee. As you've seen from what other people have said, that what we're doing is really trying to help promote the chapter's education goals through webinars, the blog, and social media. And so we maintain the website, we maintain other communication channels and announcements of chapter events and activities. And of course, you've already heard that we're trying to solicit participation in the webinars, the blog, the website, and social media. And so one of the ways we do that is by trying to post volunteer opportunities. And we brainstormed and came up with a few of these that I think you can look at in particular, but there's volunteer opportunities with each of the committees. And if you go to the website, you can find those under each committee. And you might want to participate in the committee as a member, or you may want to just take on a role, a short time role for doing one activity. And so here's a few examples. One of the things that everyone's talking about is sharing computational science education and training materials and workshops. We have a list of some of those on our website, but it hasn't been updated for a long time. So if somebody wanted to help us revise those, add to them, and share that with the community, that would also help with the activities that Dave is talking about on federated. So it isn't the federated database, but at least it's a listing that we can start and identify that. Similarly, you could help us by being an editor of the education blog, help solicit and edit blog posts relating to computational science education and training, assist with website updates, and so on. One other thing we talked about, which we thought would be an interesting initiative, would be to actually have people interview computational science professionals. So this could be somebody that does training at an HPC center, or it could be a faculty member that's trying to integrate computational science into their curriculum. And the idea is that you'd ask them a few questions, and based on that, write a short blog post about what they're doing. So this could really serve as an indicator for the community, for students that are interested in, what it is an HPC professional career does, or they're interested in graduate work in computational science, or they're just interested in, or other faculty are interested in innovations that are being made in the classroom. So anyways, this could be, it doesn't mean you have to do work with a lot of people, but if we could get a bunch of people to each do one of these kinds of interviews, I think we'd have a really interesting set of stuff to put on the website and help the community. So the general idea here is, if you have any ideas about how to share materials or training and education efforts, the outreach community committee can help get those publicized, or we can get you in touch with the other committees chairs to get you involved. And I should, before I leave this, I should say that if some of you aren't currently members of the chapter, it's really, it costs a lot of money. It's $10 a year. No taxes involved, no extra fees. But we'd love to have you as members. Those modest fees let us do things like maintain some of the licenses we use for sharing information and stuff like that. And it gets you on our regular mailing list. So that's all I have. And so we ask if anyone has any questions.
What's if people are interested in participating in some of these, what's the best way for them to let you know?
If you go to the website, it has email addresses for myself and Veronica, and just email one of us and we'll get you started.
And I would just add that we are hoping to start releasing regular newsletters again. So if there's anything you would like to share with wider community, you can also send that to us and we'll help to disseminate that information.
Questions for the outreach committee or suggestions? All right. Then next up is the SIGHPC committee.
Hold on, I have to figure out how to stop sharing here. There we go. Okay.
All right. And I put a link to our slides in the
Great, thanks.
chat. All right, so let me share this. Presentation mode. Not very good at this either. Anybody know how to get it in presentation mode? Is it here?
Oh, you click the button on the bottom right. That's how it worked for me.
Bottom
Oh,
right.
Oh, hold on. This isn't, never mind. This isn't Google.
I know, this is just out on, oh, there we go. I think this does it. Does that do it?
Yeah, it worked.
Excellent. I think I said to click the slideshow button. All right, we'll figure this out. All right. Hi, I'm Jeanette Tillotson. I'm here representing the ACM SIGHPC CISPROS chapter. And so we're mostly a group of systems professionals, the people that stand up supercomputers. So we're like state of the practice kind of people. And we certainly have a lot of unique challenges. And so our main focus is to, bring systems engineers, system administrators, network administrators, people like that, storage, and facilities too. I don't know if they have facilities on here. My thing is blocking this thing over there. So I also like to say facility staff, and basically give them a place to go for information, help problem solve and things like that. So most of what we do is kind of outreach and knowledge base building activities. We also have a website. We have a Slack. It's probably our largest activity. It's over 700 people now, pretty active, a great place to look for systems information if you need it. And then we also have a GitHub where we maintain our knowledge base. You can get to both Slack and GitHub from our website. Or is it not going to go down? Oh, there we go. Just slow. So mostly we've our biggest activity that's organized that we work on is we have a workshop at SC. We've been holding that since 2016. We've also been holding a symposium. They call it a workshop. We've been calling it just a symposium. We just invite speakers at PERC, and we've been doing that since 2019. Our workshop this year at PERC was about 30 people. We actually had 40 people sign up, but they only gave us a 30-person room, and we filled every chair. Our workshop at SC22, I think our high water mark was 190 people. So we had a 200-person room. So we tend to fill the room no matter where we go. And that'll just kind of show the need out there that systems professionals really don't have a place to go and find information or learn about how to do this as a profession. And so these are pretty heavily attended just because of that need. And we'll do the same thing in 23, hold a symposium at PERC 23 and then a workshop at SC. And we also have been holding joint social events with the CARCC systems facing track community. So we're working on getting our two groups integrated and sharing information. And here's our workshop at SC. Pretty proud of pictures where almost every seat is full. So for volunteer activities, the main thing we look for is just organizing committee members for our workshops. And we also, that's for both for PERC and SC. They're both fairly low. There's an organizing committee, and we're also looking for program committee members as well. So people to review submissions and select them. We're always looking for materials for both our workshops and Slack, just discussions on Slack, and everybody is welcome to join us and participate. Our current leadership. So John, you can see that I'm not on this list. So that'll show you both John and I think Adam was our outgoing chair. And so the two of them were out today. So, and I've been involved on the committee for a long time. But actually I'm pretty proud to say that I'm not this year. So that's a good sign. We have new people coming in and members getting involved. So it's good to be able to step away. And if you need to get a hold of us, there's our email. And join us. Got to put up a QR code. We're computer dorks, so get a QR code to join our Slack, which is, we'd love to see you all there. Does anybody have any questions?
Are you integrated with the Campus Champions efforts?
So again, what we do is more systems focused and what they do is more user focused. And this is a common issue with SysPros, is that, as you can see, most of the activities for training are all focused on users. And there's very little focused on systems. So Campus Champions really, most of them are users and user focused. So no, not really.
Right, I'm just thinking that I know a number of Campus Champions that are actually the system administrators for their campuses. So if there's some way to make sure that the information gets cross-linked, at least to let them know that that information is available, because the system people can help the users get their information, but the users can also help get connected to the systems side.
Yeah, I don't know if we've advertised at Campus Champions, but it's certainly something worth thinking about. Just sending this out to any Campus Champion that's a systems professional and wants to, just reach a community of people in knowledge base for systems. Yeah, we'd be more than happy to do that. Any other questions? Okay, I will stop sharing then.
Great. And then finally, for our last committee, Nitin's going to talk to us a little bit about the activities of the workshop committee.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna start now. Can you everybody hear me now? All right.
Yes.
Welcome all. Thanks for joining us in our annual meet. I'm Nitin. I'm one of the co-chair of the workshop committee. And the workshop committee basically works on organizing workshops. The mission of this subcommittee is basically to promote the interest and knowledge of application HPC by organizing, coordinating, and managing in-person and virtual events and workshops. We're trying to engage collaborations at all education levels, people from any domain, from HPC, non-HPC, members to interact and promote opportunities and challenges and try to figure out how we can solve these together in area of HPC. Committee goals are to maintain a process for conference workshop proposals, calls for papers, review of submissions, workshop implementations, trying to sponsor, co-sponsor workshops at major HPC and computer center science conferences worldwide. We try to manage workshop implementations and possible publication of workshop content. We have organized a conference series at multiple, different tier 1 and international and national conferences. Starting with PERC, which most of us are aware of. We have been doing workshop and BOF at PERC since 2018. At SC conference series, we have again BOF and workshops since, I think this is not 18, since 13. I think I kind of messed up the dates there. SC, it's our 9th year, which we did, and ISC is since 18. These events are organized by various individuals from all across the world. So ISC caters to more international audience, and SC is more national and international both. And PERC is a majorly national audience, but we're trying to involve more international collaborations in PERC too now, since that's the only conference left. But last year we had a couple of international collaborations and trying to get some of these small chapters starting from PERC and SC series. The goal is to have attendance, to have these focus groups come together and formulate some small groups to have, a sub-chapter or subcommittees formulated through the events. The attendance is really good. Like I mentioned, this year's SC, we had the highest attendance so far as the conferences were concerned, which was a good way to figure out that, people are out of the COVID pandemic, because 2 years, it was very difficult to organize events given the uncertainty in the events and the organizing. So it was really difficult. So that's our events which we organize. And what we are looking at, if you have any question, you can contact us, but we're looking for volunteers. Like Janet also mentioned, we're looking for program committee members who can help us review, attend the meetings, and find presenters. It's not a lot of work. We meet almost every month, because we have a cycle of submissions and planning, so we don't have formal meetings. But since we do these workshops across the world, we are meeting constantly with respect to some workshops. So if you are part of the committee, you will be expected to attend some of the meetings and help us to review the papers and present. If you have any questions, if you want to be part of any of these committees or any of these conferences which we mentioned, please email me at nitin.sukhi@si.edu or at officers@sighpceducation.acm.org. Thank you.
Any questions for the workshop committee? All right. Well, I'd like to thank all 5 presenters for talking to us a little bit about the committees. And, as they all said, if there's something in there that they're working on that you'd like to participate in, please reach out. I know that they all have kind of more work and ideas than people to do them. And so we'd, love some additional hands and some additional thoughts about what we should be prioritizing. What we're going to do now is transition to having more of a group discussion, because we'd like to get your feedback on kind of a number of specific questions. We're going to do it a little differently than just a kind of Zoom chat, though. We're going to try using Google Jamboard for this. Georgia, would you just be willing to kind of show us quickly what we're thinking about?
I just put the link to the Jamboard in the chat. If you can't click on that for some reason, it's utd.link/sighpcedu22. But I put it in the Zoom chat, and let me share my screen and I will show you really quickly how to use it. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yep.
Great. Okay, so we have 6 slides containing 6 different questions that we can go through. And then what we want y'all to do is to add sticky notes that have your answers to the questions on them. So say I just added an example sticky note here, can drag it around and change the color, do whatever you want with it. But this will help us get some easier feedback that we can refer to later. Just as a courtesy, don't edit other people's sticky notes. It is possible in Jamboard, but try to keep your responses separate from everybody else's. But if you see like somebody's note that you agree with and want to like emphasize, you can add like a +1 to the sticky note or something like that, just in text.
So for this first one, one of the things we saw this year is, how great it was for everybody to reconnect in person and have an opportunity to exchange ideas. And we'd like to try to find ways to facilitate that kind of interaction, outside of just in-person meetings or activities. And so our question for you is, how would you prefer to communicate with other members outside of those? Would you like to use, we have a Slack channel. Is that a good method of communication for you? Do you prefer a mailing list? Just maybe a webinar with a long discussion session? We'd like to get to the point that you feel comfortable, reaching out and, asking questions of other members or sharing success stories or getting feedback. So I'd encourage everybody to go ahead and put a Post-it down. And then after they come in, I may ask 1 or 2 of you if you're willing to share what you were thinking, what led to your Post-it. So let's take a minute and have everybody put a Post-it down. You can also use a different color if you don't want to be yellow.
Oh, now are we getting a problem with the Jamboard? This file might be unavailable right now due to heavy traffic. Try again. That's a.
I got that as well, but after I refreshed it a few times, it eventually worked for me.
All right, I'll encourage people who haven't posted anything yet to put something up there. I was wondering if the person who mentioned Slack is good, but maintaining history via email list may be important, would be willing to elaborate on that. What kind of history do you want to make sure is maintained?
Want me to speak or
Yeah,
or
that'd be
right?
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just that the way Slack keeps history depends if you pay for it or not, right? So you can have history forever in a Slack channel. And so if it's paid for, that's great. But if it's not, I did change it recently. It used to be 90 days, I think, and now it's so many messages. I'm not sure
Yeah.
which way around it is now. But it's just that with an email list, you can have a history forever of the communication gone on. But with Slack, you eventually will lose things unless you're willing to pay, right? And it's likely that this will have a lot of members, or you'd hope, right? And so then you're unlikely to be paying for it. Is I guess what I'm getting at.
Okay, so for you, it's valuable to be able to have that history to go back and see, okay, what have people said in the past? What questions have already been answered? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm noticing a number of so definitely, it seems like most people would like to give the Slack channel a try. We have a Slack channel. It's been pretty quiet lately, but one of our priorities is for kind of moving forward has been to remind everybody that it exists and start using it as a means to encourage communication between members. A couple of people I noticed mentioned the website. What kinds of things would be helpful for you to have on the website? Is it just kind of more of what we currently have, or are you looking for something else? Anybody who put down a website willing to talk about it? Thanks, Jeff. Okay.
I mean, in the old days, there used to be a tool to make it easy to have threaded discussions embedded in a website. So a Slack-like functionality in the website might be a way of having a more stable, sustainable set of discussions.
So we used to have a forum that was sort of connected with the blog, but no one was using it. So we ended up just deleting it. If that's something people are interested in, we can enable it again.
Well, I think maybe using Slack as the laboratory to see if we can get threaded discussions going. And then if it's useful, bringing back the forum.
I think the barrier to entry is pretty low for Slack, and I know people are familiar with it. I mean, just a very common tool. So, sure. So I think it seems like you should definitely encourage people to use it and see how it goes. I'm also seeing enough kind of emails here too that it makes me think that the starting up again the newsletter, like Veronica mentioned, might be useful to some of you for just kind of keeping track of what's going on. Are there meetings or deadlines upcoming? What are recent activities? What should I be aware of? That maybe also is a good way for to send out that information. All right. Any other comments? Oh, thanks, Georgia. Georgia just posted in the chat that if you have suggestions for things you'd like to see in the websites or issues you find, please submit an issue through the GitHub repo that hosts the website, and we'll get on it. All right, let's move to the next slide. So I think the way to do that, yeah, cool. So up at the top, where Georgia just clicked. So my second question was, we have some events and webinars that we're planning to organize in the upcoming year, but I wanted to find out what would be most helpful to to you all, right? What kinds of events would you like to either, in a perfect world, organize yourself, or if it's something that requires connections or resources you don't have available, that you'd maybe like to see someone else organize, that would be you think would be useful to you and to our community. So like before, I'd like to encourage everybody to put a post in with something, and I'll may follow up on a few of them. You get 2 votes for Speakers Bureau. Is the person who posted the green one willing to elaborate a little bit?
Yes, this is Bob Penoff. What we had as part of Nixie was that there would be campus events like a Sigma Xi chapter or a student club or something, and they would need somebody to present. And back in the old days, we actually had a travel budget, and we would have a speakers bureau where we could send people to these campuses to have one or more presentations, seminars.
Я тут болтаю потихоньку, ну ничего. Секундочку, надо выключить.
Sorry, go ahead, Bob.
So I was just thinking that, you know, if we had people that would be willing to do a Zoom session, we wouldn't be organizing the meeting, but it might be a student club, it might be a faculty, it might be a Sigma Xi chapter that would want content delivered. We could be the go-to organization to provide speakers for that particular activity. So rather than just having a webinar where we invite people to come into our meetings, we would be the speaker that goes into somebody else's meeting.
I like that. That's a good idea. And we obviously have both kind of, I think, expertise that groups to be interested in, and also, you know, we're, you know, I think familiar with talking to people that are, you know, not already members of the HPC community. So I think that's, I like that. I think it's a good idea. I'm curious. I'm wondering if the person who just posted the one about the synchronization event would be willing to talk about it a little bit.
That's me again.
Ah.
So it just that I'm about to get involved in 2 projects. I'm in Europe, right? So I'm Alan Akash, I'm in Europe, and we're about to start 2 new projects that have education components next year. And it would be interesting to talk to other people who are doing the same thing to see what they're doing and what we can learn from other people, and maybe what they can use from what we're doing as well. And maybe potentially, like, so these are 3-year projects, 4-year projects even. So there's scope for collaboration going forward as well, potentially, right? So we can help each other out in some way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks. What is the LCI on the SIGHPC training? Post it.
Yeah, the Linux Cluster Institute.
Okay.
So it's one of the few places that actually does systems training. They have both they have an intermediate or a introductory, an intermediate, and an advanced courses. They basically bring in systems professionals who are doing this as a profession, and then they invite, you know, people to join the training who are maybe, you know, new. We also have managers that come through too that might not know systems. So there's those people too. They do about 30 people in each workshop, and they're week-long trainings. So it's quite, you know, it's great. It's about the only example of systems professional training out there.
That's good to know. Thanks. Yeah, no, it's thanks for sharing. All right, let's do let's move to the next one. I think we'll have time to do one more here. And so the next one is, are you aware of any kind of specific tools or projects or, you know, resources or, you know, whatever that's out there that you'd like to see us highlight, right? And whether that means, you know, just, you know, mentioning it on Slack or in a newsletter, or having a webinar on it, or, you know, whatever. You know, are there things out there that, you know, you think we should be sure to shine a spotlight on, so that our members are aware that these things exist? Yeah, carpentry is a good one. I know we have some links to like resources, but it does seem like there could be a potential opportunity for um, more than just kind of as a link on a resource page to highlight some of those tools more fully. I'm curious about, I'm not familiar with the European environment for scientific software installations. Would the person who put out that posted be willing to talk about it for a minute? Got you again.
Guess who? No, I mean, that's part of so something we've been working on for a couple of years, but basically it's a way of having software available really quickly. So let me see what you could make it. It's basically what we use it for in the education context. It's used in the scientific context, but in the education context, we use it on clusters that are brought up in the cloud environments to get a full scientific software stack on something instantly. And basically, so within about 20 minutes, you can have an entire cluster with an entire software stack up. But the idea is that it's basically a file system that's on the web, and you just mount that file system, and then all the software is there and will work on whatever architecture you have access to. So it'll work on ARM, it'll work on Intel, and it's optimized for all the architectures as well. And so it's useful in an educational context if you have the software, whatever application you want to use, and if that's available inside this environment, then it's easy to have something that people can use, right? Whether it's in the cloud or on an HPC system or on their own laptops, they can actually reproduce this environment at home in the same relatively trivial steps.
So Alan, would you be willing to help organize a panel discussion or something for a webinar that would highlight this environment?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so this is a big part of this project that we're starting in January. So that's within scope for us.
All right, I will be in touch.
Yeah, no worries.
Great. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Yeah, these are some good ideas. I just mentioned the HPC carpentry. I think there's definitely some other opportunities there. I like the data visualization as well, just because I think, it's easy to make something visually compelling, and I think that's often a good way to introduce people to some of these concepts and allow them to explore simulation results and these kinds of things. So I agree, that's one we haven't done too much in the past, but I think is definitely worth consideration. All right, I know that we are coming up on our hour, so I'd just like to take a minute and close with a couple of things that we know are coming up in the near future to encourage you to keep your eyes open for. You've given us some good ideas today, so I know that we'll be following up with some of you on some of these specifics. One thing coming up, we mentioned we've got some webinars already in the pipeline, and I think we got some really good ideas for that today. Some additional ones. I think being able to highlight a variety of different tools and having some panel discussions and just having different kinds of things, I think are a great way to keep it interesting and provide additional resources and connections to the community. I know if you see somebody in a webinar talking about a topic, you're more likely to reach out to them if you have really good questions. We're also planning to do some regional events with kind of an international participation element. So I know that in, I think, the March-April timeframe, South Africa and I think the UK are planning to kind of collaborate on regional events in both of those regions, with an opportunity for those of us elsewhere to be able to participate as well. And so I think that's going to be an exciting opportunity to see what some of our global partners and colleagues are doing to help with outreach and education. Veronica mentioned we're planning to fire up a regular newsletter again. I think that's a good way to just keep you all informed as to what is going on, what projects groups are undertaking, what webinars are coming up, etc. And just let you know what what's available. And finally, I think we'd really like to find increased opportunities for interaction outside of the in-person events, the BOFs and the workshops that we hold. So based on your feedback, it looks like we should definitely use the Slack channel more. So we will kind of send out emails about how to join for new members who maybe haven't, and also start seeding some conversations over there to try to grow the community online. So I want to thank you all for coming. I really appreciate you taking this time to participate in the chapter and in planning for the year to come. I'm excited about 2023. I think we have a lot of fun things on the horizon, a lot of great ideas. And, I think it's, as we're still all kind of emerging a little bit from our shells, I think it's going to be a great year for continuing to build the HPC education community. If you have any comments or suggestions, you can email me either at my day job email or at the chair email. I look forward to it. And I also look for us to follow up with a few of you based on your, good conversations and ideas from today. So thank you very much. And hopefully we'll see you all again soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.